One of the primary emotions that I felt postpartum was confused. I thought that postpartum would be about just me bonding with my baby. I don't know if I'm supposed to be happy. I don't know if I'm supposed to be sad. I was confused on how to feel. Hello, my name is Derricka Scott and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. In today's video, I want to discuss the things that I went through postpartum being a first-time mother. Now let's get into it. To kind of summarize or sum it up to how I felt postpartum, don't you know how we go through 4 different cycles every single month? I felt like I was going through all 4 cycles every single day. And my thoughts and emotions was all over the place. That moment that you realize that you did all of this prepping for labor and delivery, and then only to realize that once the baby comes home, your whole entire life changes. First thing that I want to talk about, my expectations postpartum versus what was reality for me. I didn't expect a C-section, so that was a whole healing process within itself. I remember how I had to sleep on the couch in the beginning. I was unable to lay flat. It was very painful and uncomfortable trying to sit up. I couldn't sleep in my bed. I didn't have one of those beds where you can control like the degrees and the angles of the bed. I just have a regular bed. So I had to sleep on the couch. That was something that it was unexpected because I didn't think about that. What I expected as far as my son coming home. I remember my son coming home like it was yesterday. I was hospitalized for 3 days. I had a C-section, but because of the preeclampsia and the gestational hypertension, they had to give me magnesium for 24 hours. Coupled with the fact that my blood pressure was elevated, so that kind of prolonged my hospital stay. So I didn't come home like right away. I was like begging them, like, please let me go. I just want to sleep. I just wanted to sleep. I was tired of getting my blood pressure checked. I was tired of getting my labs drawn. 4 a.m. Like, you think you in a deep sleep, and then here comes somebody knocking on your door trying to check your fundus and wanting to assess your C-section scar. I get all of that because I'm a nurse. I get it. But being a patient is very different than being on the other side. I just wanted to sleep. So we finally go home, and my son he's cool, but that night he was not. I expected for the transition from him coming home like he would be more comfortable but then I guess I'm not thinking like this isn't his space. He don't know what it's like to be home yet. So no, he wasn't comfortable. Honey, they told us not to use pacifiers because I was actively trying to breastfeed, pumping and nursing. And let's just say that first night, baby, I needed pacifier. I went straight on Amazon, ordered some pacifiers, and that definitely helped soothe him. That helped calm him down. It's not that he was like crying a whole lot, but he was pretty fussy in the beginning. Like, my son's name is Caius, and Caius stands for joyful or rejoice. So I just kind of expected for him to be like a little happy baby. But coming out the gate, baby, he was not happy. And it's probably because his mama had a C-section, because he was breached. He wasn't ready to get up out of there. Caius probably would have just stayed in my uterus if I would have allowed him to. I automatically expected to feel unconditional love right out the gate, and that wasn't the case for me. It's not that I didn't love my son, but I just think I had a lot of emotions, all of the hormones and stuff going on. I didn't like automatically feel that unconditional connection. Like, that was something that definitely grew over time. Like, right before having my son, I worked night shifts. So I thought that I would be okay staying up all night. No, it was very different. It's very different staying up all night when you're actually not sleeping at all during the day. I didn't account for the fact that I needed rest because I just had major surgery. Even further down the line, I didn't expect my core to split open. I didn't expect to have diastasis recti. How I kind of knew was, I remember like one of my friends had a baby after me. She had a baby like a month after me. Honey, I saw her stomach like 2 weeks later, and I'm like, whoa, like I still looked pregnant. She 2 weeks, I'm a month and 2 weeks, and I still looked pregnant. Not to even try to compare myself to someone else, but I knew something was up. I want to talk about like the harder parts of postpartum. Although, yeah, I have my baby here, I'm also coping with this new version of me. This is a completely different person. I felt very unfamiliar in my body, coupled with the fact that, again, I have this new baby. So yes, I love my son. He's in my face. I love him, and I'm breastfeeding and all of the things. But then at the same time, I'm feeling like, who am I? Who are you now? Yo, it really needs to be talked about postpartum. You're just trying to refine who you are, but with a different life and a different experience and being a different woman. Ever since I've had my son, I've probably morphed or developed into 3 different women since then. Like, it's a process, baby, getting back to you. But I can't even say get back to you, because you really not getting back to you. You really you 2.2. You 3.0, baby. I give so much respect and props to my postpartum, my moms, because y'all really did it. Y'all did that ish. As a new mom, freshly postpartum, I was coping with healing, not being as mobile because I recently just had major surgery, not having the same amount of free time that I once had prior to having my son, because not only do I have a new baby, I'm also breastfeeding. And if you know, you know, because breastfeeding is a full-time job. I was very uncomfortable with my body. I was bigger in size. I could not fit any of my clothes. I don't know how long it took for me to be able to get back into my jeans. It's funny now because I can't fit any of those jeans now because I'm so much smaller than what I was before I got pregnant. That's a whole journey within itself, is postpartum and just not even feeling familiar in your clothes. I was actually kind of afraid because I experienced body dysmorphia before even getting pregnant or even getting married. And I didn't know how that might potentially show up in my pregnancy and how that may potentially show up postpartum. At some points in my postpartum journey, I honestly questioned if I even made the right decision. I was just struggling to cope with the new lifestyle changes. So even prior to having my son, or even prior to getting married, or even when I was married, I was able to kind of move around freely. I traveled a lot. I did a lot. My time worked very differently after having a kid. I think I also had a hard time coping with the lack of freedom. I still have anxiety that I struggled with during pregnancy. It wasn't as bad. After having my son, my whole identity changed, and I had to cope with this new woman that I became. And a part of me honestly mourned the old version of me. And sleep is far and few. They say sleep when a baby sleep, but it's things that need to be done around the house. Cooking, cleaning, just taking care of things around the house. Every time I turned my head, it was time to breastfeed or time to pump. It was almost impossible to get true rest while I was healing and going through my postpartum journey. The hard part of my postpartum journey was being cleared to go back to exercising. And I think the reason why this was so hard was because exercising and fitness was like a huge part of my life now, and it was then. Once I was finally cleared to exercise, it was hard to keep up with a consistent schedule. Having a newborn, your schedule was very unpredictable. Breastfeeding, my gym was 30 minutes away, so I was driving 30 minutes to my gym, 30 minutes home. And when you breastfeed, you know, when you're pumping, you know that you're on a schedule. Even if I pumped before I went to the gym, it was just kind of hard to pump and then go to the gym. That's before things became a little bit more portable for me. But at the time, my pumps were at home. So it was just pumping before I would go to the gym, and then the time that I was actually at the gym, and then having to pump when I was done. I just didn't want to leak. I didn't want to become engorged. That's when I switched my gym to the gym that's 5 minutes from my home. That was much more convenient for me. And I also started walking, nurse him or to pump, and then put my son on me and go outside for a walk and to walk my neighborhood. That was the one thing that I really could keep up with postpartum versus me trying to take time out to go to the gym. I can't take him to the gym with me. And then another thing that I kind of struggled with, it took 30 minutes for my breast to empty. I wasn't one of those people who had like 10 letdowns at the beginning. We'll have a letdown after 25 minutes. So it took me 30 minutes to clear my breast. At that time, I just felt like I was always connected to my breast pump. It was just really a struggle. Again, first time mom, trying to plan everything out around breastfeeding. Another thing that I struggle with is that I try to control every aspect of my son's life. I wanted to be the one to pick his clothes out. I wanted to be the one to do all of the baths. When he finally started eating, I made all of his pureed meals. I was the one who controlled all of his milk. Looking at it now, I know what not to do with the next baby. I was very controlling in all aspects of his life. And to be honest with you, I made my experience a little bit more difficult than what it probably needed to be. Had I just allowed my husband to help me out with some of these things. Focus with the next baby is all chilling and bonding and healing. So the next thing that I want to talk about is what helped me and what I wish I knew. One thing that really helped me was I was actually in my postpartum journey with a few of my friends and 2 of my sisters. Was talking to them about their postpartum experience, realizing that a lot of the things that I was feeling was very common and that I wasn't alone. And then another thing that helped me at that time was I used a meal prep company. I didn't have time and energy to just cook all of my meals. So using a meal prep company was very convenient. And I know I needed the nutrients because I was breastfeeding. I extended myself a lot of grace postpartum because I know that this was a new experience for me. I didn't know what to expect. It takes time to build a routine postpartum. So I gave myself time to build a routine, to create a little bit of structure in my home. Once the structure was created, it made our lives so much easier. But it's just that initial postpartum experience, your whole life changes. Eventually, my son slept all night and I was able to sleep comfortably in my bed. And it took time, but slowly over time, I was able to fit back into some of my clothes. Even being somebody who's been on a fitness journey for over 10 years. After having my son and finally getting back to walking, I remember thinking that my first walk would be like 4 miles. Honey, I did under a mile and I felt like I ran a marathon. Giving your body time, it functions very differently after surgery. I journaled while I was pregnant. I journaled postpartum. I needed to get these thoughts and feelings out. And the thing that I like about journaling is that it's like a non-judgment place. It's just you and yourself and your thoughts. And it's nobody there to judge what you're writing down. You're going to be very honest and you're going to be very transparent because it's you. It's just you. It's not something that you need to share with anyone. So that's the one thing that I love about journaling, is that you could be very vulnerable in your journaling experience. So I need to talk about this one. Can't leave this one out. Allow people to help you. I need to allow people to help me when or if we have another child, because it takes a village and you just need to allow people to do things for you. If they are offering you help, if somebody is checking up on you, saying if you need anything, baby, get them some tasks. Give people things to do, because you can't do it all on your own, especially regardless if you had a C-section or if you had a vaginal birth. Your body is healing. You just did really tough. And then the last thing that I want to talk about are the closing reflections. How I reflected on my journey and my experience postpartum. There is a lot that I learned from this experience that I can apply towards my next baby. But postpartum was a challenge because I was trying to bond with the baby while being sleep deprived, being constantly drained of milk while trying to physically heal at the same time. Can we say it again? Can we say it? People in the back, I think I hear y'all saying, the trenches. I extended that version of me a lot of grace because I know that she was trying to heal. I think I did a pretty good job, man. When I look back, I mean, I was struggling, but overall, I think I did a pretty good job. And at the end of the day go in? Quotations, Glorilla. But all jokes aside, it was worth it in the end. I love my son so much and I cannot even see my life without him. As I found my flow, it got better. It became easier. Like breastfeeding, eventually it wasn't even a thing that I thought about. It was just a part of my routine. As long as I was able to have some form of structure. I mean, I know like things are unpredictable. Things are going to happen. Life is going to life. But on a day-to-day, as long as I was able to have some form of structure, it just made the process of breastfeeding and the process of postpartum and having this whole lifestyle change easier. Comment down below, do you remember the first time, how you felt when you first brought your baby home? Do you remember what emotions you felt when you first brought your baby home? Do you remember how you felt just trying to recover and heal throughout that process? What was your biggest challenge? You are interested in my pregnancy experience and how it was not at all what I expected. I have a video uploaded on that. My next video will be how my breastfeeding journey was not at all what I expected. I'll see y'all again soon. Hey.